Welcome to the Trailer Island podcast.
We got him.
He found the button.
Sorry, pardon for the laughter, because I absolutely completely stuffed up the intro to that, and I'm not doing it again.
That's fair.
All right, no, fine, okay.
Because, we want to connect with our audience. We love our audience.
We do.
We don't want to, do things twice around. I feel like we're faking our genuine personalities.
At the same time, we'd like to provide them with quality.
Let's just fix it in post.
Yeah, that's all. Well, I'm the one who does it, so I would...
Yeah, let's fix it in post.
Yes, we are the Trailer Island podcast. I am Alex, and I'm joined by...
Steve.
And Matthew.
And this week, we are doing another film that's out currently, or released currently in the year 2020.
I was actually really looking forward to this one as well.
And you know what? I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to see it in the cinema.
Yeah, I
So
think
feel
it would have
like
been good.
I probably would have enjoyed this in the cinema, but it was streaming on Apple TV Plus or Apple
TV.
Plus.
I think it's just Apple Plus now.
Apple Plus something or other.
So obviously original cinema release because of COVID. They
What's COVID?
COVID is okay. Let's just not get into that. Because of that, certain studios are using different techniques for their releases. Obviously, last week we did Tenet. Tenet. I keep saying Tenet, because Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan basically said, we want people to see this in the cinema. And this film, they decided, you know what, let's skip the cinema release and go to a streaming platform, and Apple bought it. And that's the world we now live in. So yeah, that's the direction that this release campaign has gone for this film.
It's probably the first thing I've watched on Apple TV Plus as well.
Yeah,
I don't think anything else is really.
How much was it? Was it part of the subscription, or you had to pay more? I can't remember.
No, it was part of the subscription. If you have an Apple Plus account, you can stream this film.
So yes, Apple Plus streaming Tom Hanks.
Yes, Tom Hanks movie. Tom Hanks wrote this movie. I feel like this is possibly a bit of a vanity project for him, because he's obviously front and center in this movie in the lead role.
Yes.
And I feel like it's a story perhaps he's read that he found quite interesting and decided to make a film out of.
Why not?
Yeah. So may I please introduce
Proceed.
the film?
So Greyhound, is it? Oh, sorry.
Oh, Steve. Yeah, we're doing Greyhound.
Congratulations on your first command at last.
I will always be looking for you, Evie. Even if I'm 1,000 miles away.
Air escort to Greyhound. You will now be out of range of air cover for the next 5 days. How many crossings does this make?
This is my first.
I got some.
Most likely a U-boat.
He's trying to slip under us! Fire!
We have a kill.
Distress rockets, sir.
We have hits directly on the convoy.
A wolf bag's hunting us.
U-boat, starboard bound!
We've lost 7 ships and 50 souls.
What you did yesterday, got us to today.
It's not enough.
Fire as they dare! Targets disappeared, sir.
Here they come.
What are we gonna do?
We'll bring hell down from on high.
Very dramatic.
Oh, so dramatic. Very intense.
Alex, you made a good point during the listening of that trailer.
Yeah, we talked about Tenet last week, where it was just like wall of noise, couldn't understand things. In this, it was just so clear what they're saying and how it's recorded that it almost doesn't sound real, but it almost sounds like a video game.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, I believe, are actually involved in Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's this Medal of Honor Greyhound.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's just got this... a strange, hyper-real, uncanny valley feel about, the trailer itself. Just like, it is so clear about what it's trying to tell you to do. And I feel like this trailer tells you too much.
It certainly does. However, having said that, this film is, and it's a good thing. I don't want to say it's a bad thing, but this film is really succinct and precise.
Yes.
It's got a really clear-cut, simple story, and it's an action war film, obviously, and you know the story, you know the stakes, and you just go along for the ride. There aren't really all that many surprises along the way or anything like that. It's just a really clear-cut action war film. And I think it's quite good for that reason. I quite enjoy the fact that I can sit down and go, oh, cool, I know who everyone is, what's going on, let's go. It's only like an hour and a half. It's a short movie. I think they've done that deliberately.
It goes in, the action starts pretty quickly.
It does, yeah.
There is what I feel like a very ham-fisted love story.
Oh, boy.
Interjected at the start that just was like, probably could have really done without that.
At least we get to see Elizabeth Shue, and Elizabeth Shue is amazing.
Yeah, to be fair, if we didn't have that, there'd be no female characters in the film at all.
No, they would not.
But that would, as far as war films go, like that's representative of the time.
No, that's true. That is true. I don't know. I feel like Tom Hanks' character in this is a little thin. Yes,
really thin.
It's a little thin. I still kind of, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm conditioned to like Tom Hanks. Maybe that's what it is. But I was like, yeah, Tom Hanks. Oh, don't you dare hurt Tom Hanks. I was on side with him.
Have Tom Hanks and Judi Dench ever been in a film together?
Oh, that would be my favourite film, I think.
Would that break you?
It probably would. I don't know who I'd want to get behind more. Like, no, what if they were
phrasing?
No, we're not. What if they were in a film together, but I don't know, maybe Judi Dench was the villain and Tom Hanks was the hero. Like, do I root for Judi Dench or do I root for Tom Hanks? What would I do in that situation? I like that we get to see. Is it his fiance or his wife?
I think it's his fiancée because they agree not to get married yet until the world is more stable.
That's right. So I really appreciated the fact that we get to see a little inkling of his life or his
backstory.
Backstory. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. I'm pleased that we got to see a little bit of that before because I think this film deliberately makes him an isolated captain. He hasn't he's part of the crew there, but he definitely feels very much alone.
I contend that even without that little background scenelet, this movie wouldn't change a bit.
Okay.
What it does do is it take away from the bit in the film where he talks about, yes, it's the first time that I'm
which was
doing the cross.
A lovely moment,
which is a great moment in the film, but the trailer's already told you.
And I was just glad that I had seen the trailer long enough ago to have forgotten that line was in the trailer by the time I saw the film, and I was like, oh, wow, you mean that was, oh, cool. It's like, so it was actually quite similar to him in Saving Private Ryan. He used to be a school teacher in that film. And that's the whole thing that he's like, oh, what did you do before the war? I was a school teacher. It's like just a normal human being. Mm-hmm. And so I thought the fact that this film did a similar thing by saying, no, this is the first time I've done this. Like, I'm just trying to get through like the rest of you. I thought that was a really nice touch. But again, being in the trailer, that definitely ruined it a bit. Before we get into the fine details, I should just say the plot of this film. Mm-hmm. So Tom Hanks is a US captain of a destroyer. I believe it's a destroyer. I don't know my different kinds of vessels all that well. I believe it's a destroyer.
It's a boat.
It's a boat with guns on it. And he has to escort the US soldiers to the UK so that they can be deployed in the Europe theatre of World War II.
Amongst other supply ships.
Amongst other supplies. Yeah. And they are being hunted by, I think at one point, a maximum of 4 U-boats. I believe it's about 4 or so U-boats.
I did count at least 4, yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
The name of his ship is the Greyhound, and he's being hunted by, and this was not very subtle, the Greyhound is being hunted by the Grey Wolf.
Yeah, yeah.
The naming of those two vessels, not all that subtle, but still, how much subtlety do you want in a war film? It's a bit of a cat and a mouse thing. It works. It worked for me.
I think I'm probably, it's not subtle. It's straightforward. It is a straightforward film.
Yeah. The action is great.
Yeah.
The action and the suspense is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there were moments where I was just like, oh, what? Because you've got these fantastic maneuvers that the boat is expected to make that Tom Hanks is guiding. And you really feel edge of your seat. Oh my God. And they've set it up where you feel like, oh, this is a real threat. And they do it really well visually with the torpedoes coming towards the ship. And that's another thing about the film as well, that the dialogue, I feel, is extremely believable and extremely close to how it would be presented in that time.
I did appreciate that.
The way, the accurate, what I believe is the historical accuracy of the conversations that they have on board were really actually almost educational and lovely to listen to.
Tom Hanks is not someone I would have had down as a script writer. I know he has done some directing in the past, and most notably, I think he directed an episode of Band of Brothers. But his script is really good.
I feel like it's a very basic.
Yeah,
it's a basic script and a basic storytelling.
But unlike
film,
Tenet, I completely understood everything that was happening in this movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's good script writing, where your audience can understand what's going on.
It was a relief after Tenet, I must say, that it was just so clear about its objectives.
One thing that I couldn't quite understand. And obviously there are a lot of ships in this film, so it would be really hard to do it for real. But for a film that is set almost exclusively on the ocean, I'm certain there is not one shot of the real sea.
I'm pretty disappointed about that.
For the most, I should point out, especially of the ships making their maneuvers during the action sequences, I think the CGI is actually really good.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Really good. But then there are some shots, especially when they've, when a ship's sunk or something and there's like oil or something in the water, it doesn't really look all that good.
But so just do a colour grade on that patch over there, would you, with some brown oil?
It's like they got paint and let's just make that area red. I don't know. I feel like there would have been some shots that they could have gone, let's just go and shoot the sea so we can have some real water in there at some point.
But I wonder then, would that reveal the CG more?
Possibly.
So they've purely gone, let's keep it CG the entire time so it doesn't make you question when we are at sea. I'm sure that someone threw a few buckets of water when they were doing the close-up scenes.
It's one of those films that, not that a low budget would ever mean that a film is necessarily bad, but I feel like if it wasn't for the quality of the CGI when it is at its highest, I could easily think that this was made on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
But having said that, that's probably a good thing. I think it's got a really nice, intimate... Like, you're with Tom Hanks the entire movie.
It's one room.
Yeah, it's almost... It's a one-room film, really. Yeah, which is really nice. And I love the relationships between his different crew members that you see them develop. You know, he's clearly getting on better with some than others, and some of them are looking after him more than others, especially the cook character.
Yeah.
Who one of the best relationships in this film is this cook whose his job is... Because Tom Hanks is so stressed trying to do his job and everything, he's just not eating and not sleeping. So this, I don't know his name, unfortunately, the character's name.
George, I think.
George?
Yeah, George.
He's basically spends the entire film just trying to get him to eat something. He's always coming up with these wonderful meals of pancakes or bacon and eggs or something, and they either get knocked off because something happens or Tom Hanks just forgets to eat it. And that relationship plays out really well.
See, I disagree.
Okay.
Yes, that relationship is noticeable, and I think it's noticeable because there's a lack of any sort of character interaction whatsoever. See, I kept on... I didn't really recognize any of these background characters, except for his first lieutenant, you know, who you get to see a lot. Every other, private or any person on that deck is so interchangeable and so forgettable. I was like... I'm really struggling to keep track of which character is which and who's coming on deck to support Tom Hanks and who's not. But this isn't a film about that sort of relationship, though.
No, that's true. I just thought it was a really nice... I thought it was a really nice touch that was in there.
I mean, I'm erring on the side a bit more with Steve on this, feeling that they were so background, it sort of just... the focus is so much on Tom Hanks' character that it sort of just... They kind of pass by.
His name is Captain Krause?
Kraus. Tom Hanks' character.
Yeah.
Kraus.
I just figured we've been calling him Tom Hanks. And that's what I referred to him when I was watching the film, going, oh, no, not Tom Hanks. You know, I didn't know what his character's name was.
I thought this was a really interesting demonstration, though, that throughout film school, we always get told we need to, as filmmakers, you need to have, the plot that's going on, and you've got to have character stories as well. But this film, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And it sort of demonstrated that you can get away with not having a grand, powerful character story. You can actually just get away with having really engaging, nice, plot.
Yeah.
You have an objective your character is trying to achieve. Why might be the most vanilla why of for like of all time. It's part of his duty, but at the same token, it comes together pretty nicely. It's a really engaging and action-filled movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to get from A to B.
Yeah.
There are lives at stake. Their enemy is clear and concise, and a wonderful enemy. That I feel like it plays a bit like the trope of the German.
It does.
Warrior, almost very camp. It's like, hello, Greyhound, we are here. We are hunting you. We can hear the screams of your dying men.
Listen to our EDM music.
Sorry, Alex, did you just play a clip from the movie?
I believe I did.
Because that was pretty accurate. What it sounded like.
Would you like to hear another clip from the film?
Are you going to do the English guy at the end? Because that really triggered me.
You did lament at your frustration with the characterization of the British naval officer.
There's a British naval officer at the end, and he just
But you hear only over the radio.
Over the radio, but he literally has a line which is, "Oh yes, jolly good. We'll all handle it from here. Don't worry, we'll take it from here. Don't worry, you Americans. You go and rest. Have a nice spot of tea. Ah, jolly good."
It does say that, doesn't he? I forgot all
It
that.
is literally the most stereotype.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't alive then, but I'm fairly sure that no one spoke like that at the time. Surely, not to that level, to that patronizing
For the historical
kind of way.
accuracy that the American conversations are.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you get this over
Monty
the top
Python character come in.
It's like they've only watched the Monty Python films
Yeah,
with John
yeah.
Cleese and gone, oh, well, that's what the British sound like.
And now for something completely different.
I think we all appreciated the fact that a character accidentally sneezes and they leave it.
That was great.
That was
That was a tense moment.
We were talking about it, it's like on screen, we've got a character who is supposed to be delivering dialogue. Whether it was part of the screenplay or not, I don't know.
I think it was. I think it's meant to add to the suspense.
You don't see that in films where someone's talking mid-sentence, they sneeze.
Yeah.
And they get pulled up on it as well.
And
If you do that again, you're off the bridge.
It's like, is that going to happen again? Yeah, because you cut. And I was just like, you got this film that's powering on, powering, and then there's all this, sort of, pause.
And meanwhile, poor Tom Hanks is going, well, can you tell me where the sub is? Like, I need this information.
And just I love the visual storytelling of they've got how the maps and they're drawing them out literally on pencil to show the direction of where they need to go, where the attacks are coming from.
That was really
and
good.
you see it so clearly. And they've got the sonar that's pinging off. I love the guy who's listening to the sonar. You could hear all these things and he's talking through. And he has to talk through it because they're relaying that information upstairs. They can't. It's not like a speaker that's going straight up. They have to do it via a person.
I thought I might get tired. I thought that sort of repetition might tick me off a little bit, but no, it was actually...
The repetition cleared it up.
It did.
Made it clear for you.
did.
And it happened so quickly that you caught it in that one go.
Yeah.
And it was quite easy.
The sound design in this film is actually really spot on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
We've all mentioned it earlier before we started recording, but there is a particular sound cue that plays whenever the Grey Wolf appears.
Or any of the German
Or
subs. Or is it only the Grey Wolf?
I'm fairly sure it's only the Grey Wolf, but I've only seen it the once. I could be wrong. It's a really haunting sound, and it works incredibly well.
I did kind of feel like they could have used different iterations of that sound for every time it appeared because it's literally used every single time.
Yeah.
And I got a little bit tired of that same
But
noise
I think that's the point.
playing.
If you think from Tom Hanks' character's point of view, which is these subs just not leaving him alone.
No.
Yeah.
I think the idea is like, again? I think that's the idea they were trying to get across in this just throughout this entire film was they are being harassed constantly.
It does not let up. And there's that beautiful scene where they are disposing of their recently departed colleagues, as it is apparently tradition is to throw them overboard. I think there's a conversation about...
I think a better way to say it would be bury them at sea, but
okay,
throw them
bury them
overboard.
at sea. And it is a small pause in the film. And then before you know it, on the horizon, another ship of the convoy is firing off their stress flares.
Yeah.
And they have to get back to work. And that's just what, it just constantly goes.
And I like that. It was good. And
I kind of knew that it was going to happen.
Well, yeah.
But
I think
it just happened.
I think that's why the film is only an hour and a half. If you try and prolong that kind of...
Yeah.
It was the length. It was the perfect length.
It was the length that it needed to be.
Yeah.
And even the moment where it's the middle of the night and
Yes.
Krause has now been awake for... I think he spent a total of 5 days awake navigating.
His feet are bleeding because he's been standing up for so long.
I'd really believe that.
And I think in that time, the only thing he has is coffee. But they have this moment in the middle of the night where the things are happening and there's explosions going off and stuff. And the camera just starts to ascend. and there's all these stress flares going off. There's explosions. There's boats being destroyed, and the clouds come in, and all you can see is through the clouds. And I thought it just gives you a breath, a different perspective on a battle scene.
It was really nice.
Did anyone get super frustrated? There's a couple of like battle scenes where these destroyers are firing on the subs, and they've got all these guns just pointed at this like one sub, and no one's landing a hit.
I think
That frustrated the hell out of me.
Well, I think that's just accurate, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because I was just like, it's right there, like hit it. Like how hard is it to hit this thing? But
maybe that's them making sure it wasn't a video game where, you know, you point a gun at something and you hit it. You know, it's like, no, you got to, you know, you're on a ship that's going up and down and the sub's also going up and down at different times. Like, surely to hit it and actually do any damage would be quite hard.
I really liked how they put to film these battle sequences and the strategies that they use and the weapons that they have to use and what they're doing to dodge each other and shoot each other. I thought it was just so crisp and clear. There were moments during battles where I got kind of lost about where they were going and where they were going and for what for. Whether I just wasn't paying enough attention, or I was just so engaged, I was like, oh, and then this thing happened.
Yeah.
And I was watching this with my wife, and you know, she was sort of coming and going a little bit, but even then, for her not being able to watch it as much of the film as I did, there were moments where they were, you know, the Germans and them were fighting each other, and one was successful against the other, and she, like, without hesitation, was like, "Yes."
That's brilliant.
You know,
that's
so
fantastic.
for a film to bring that out of you, and you've maybe picked up 80% of it, you know, I think that's a really good testament to the really clear, crisp storytelling that
The
this
film
has.
works. I can't stress that enough. This film, even though it is aiming for a very simple story, this film does work, at least on a story level, incredibly well. Again, the characters are a little lackluster.
Yeah.
But the narrative is perfect.
I just had a thought that I came out of this, and perhaps it was something that I wasn't expecting to feel at the end of it, but my brain wasn't tired.
After Tenet, it's quite nice.
Well, after
isn't it?
quite a few films that we've talked about, you know, I didn't feel like I was tired or lethargic after having watched it.
It's definitely an easy watch.
Oh, and that's it.
Dad film is the best West
Dad film.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much. You know,
What does that mean for me?
Well, you're a British man who enjoys his war film, so
That's
know,
true.
you are that audience.
I think you should pay attention to your illegitimate children.
If I ignore them, they'll go away.
No, they won't, Dad.
But what if you get a call from them one day? It's like, "Hello, father, I've come home. Will you pick me up finally?"
No, not now. I'm watching Greyhound.
He's got German children.
I wouldn't surprise me.
All right, let's move on.
Matthew is a man of the world.
I don't know what to say to that.
Right, I think it's quite clear that we all. I think it was an easy watch. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
What I will say, I would like to talk about the whole the release strategy for this film for a moment. And I've
Certainly.
already expressed this to you, gentlemen, previous to today. I'm a lover of physical media, having it on disc. So they've skipped the cinema release for this, which is fine, and so just so that people are able to see it. I enjoyed this movie. I would like to own it. And when I say own it, I don't mean own a digital version that's permanently on a subscription somewhere. I want to own it on a disc so I can have it on my shelf, so I can sometimes, if the internet is down, go, I'm going to watch Greyhound. I don't like this idea, perhaps, of skipping physical media entirely. And I don't know that they will for this. I'm assuming there'll be a Blu-ray at some point. But I feel like this could set a precedent.
Well,
of perhaps not having a home media release.
I don't think you should be despair of that.
they're not going to make money off of you by not
That's true. Because I want
making one available.
That's the thing. I don't like this idea of paying for a movie on YouTube and you have the full movie on YouTube. It's like, but if I come home from work and the internet's down, because we live on an island, the internet's dodgy, at least you can have it on a disc and you can still watch it.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, that's just something for me, my own personal kind of. I just wanted to throw that out to you guys, see what you think about it.
I agree.
I mean, I would say on that, if you went and saw this 90-minute war film in a cinema, would you feel gypped? Because I sort of feel like I would have been shortchanged.
I don't think so, because I mean Dunkirk I think is only an hour and a half.
I think this is perfect for streaming.
Yeah, no,
Perfect for
you're
streaming.
right. You
But
definitely.
that sound design would have been so good in the cinema.
It would have been cool.
The sound design was awesome in this movie.
I do wish that I got to see it in a cinema.
Okay.
Maybe they will
I
at some
think
point.
I
Who
think
knows?
I do get what you're saying, Steve.
Yeah.
Because again, that trailer which we listened to is quite dramatic and like this is a big deal. This movie, and then when you watch it again, it for its betterment, I believe it's a very small, focused, just to the point action movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think because of the suspense, that's why it's the length it is. And I think if I went to see it and had that suspense the entire way through, which I think I would have had in a cinema, I would have felt like I would have got out of it what it was trying to give me. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I feel like if they made it 20 minutes longer, they would have ruined it.
Okay.
And there's a few structural things that I would have changed. I guess the motivations and stuff like that with the love interest and stuff. I was a bit like, oh.
Didn't need to be there.
I just, yeah. But
The film would be even shorter without it.
true, maybe they're like, oh, we need to fatten this thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
What can we do?
I really recommend people go and see this. It's a solid action. It's not on the same level as your Dunkirks or your Saving Private Ryans or your 1917s. This is not aiming for that level of realism because this is a very CGI heavy movie.
It's a super tight film. It's not jazz. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly. But it is. If you had nothing to, I watched this as like a Saturday night kind of movie. I thought it was because I like my war films. That was cool. But at the same time, it works as a Sunday Arvo film.
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely, yeah.
that's when I watched it.
Yeah,
So and it was perfect. We sat down mid-afternoon. I was like, man, it was great.
yeah.
What should we give this? Did we do golden periscopes?
I think we did
some
at
point.
some
I think we
point.
did, yeah.
That's a shame.
So-
it would have been really good for this, wouldn't it?
Do we do?
What about lost Japanese airmen stuck on islands?
How that no, that's the wrong theater of war.
Yeah, but it's World War II.
Don't mess with Matthew and his historical accuracies.
What? The Japanese have nothing to do with this movie.
What about flares?
Yes, flares. Let's do flares. I love
Because
that.
flares are a lot in this. Tropical flares.
Tropical flares. We should send up a flare. We might get rescued.
Perhaps. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? We've been here for
Does
so
anyone
long.
have any flares? I don't
We
have
have
any flares.
actually run out of our water supply. So, go figure.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty. So what is it? Flares. Yeah. I'll go first. Some of it is a little bit rough, but 99% of it is pure, crisp action, makes sense. It was clear. Love it. So 4.5.
Okay.
I also really enjoyed this movie. Again, it's not like it's the best film ever made, but at the same time, I feel like it achieves everything it wants to achieve, really. I really enjoyed it the first time round. I really enjoyed the ship maneuvers, like you said, Alex. I love that to see that play out. I would absolutely buy this movie and watch it again and again. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm also going to give it 4.5.
This movie it's got form. It's a body. I just wish it had personality. I don't think it has any personality whatsoever. I think it's all right.
It's quite sterile, isn't it?
It's I wouldn't even say sterile. I just think it's like Tom Hanks is like, I'm going to write a war film. And what hasn't been covered yet? Oh, probably the Atlantic Theatre. Let's do it there. Do I want character? No, I've done character stuff. I was in Saving Private Ryan. I'll do it. Okay. That'll do. Yep, just a story. Yep, get it A to B. That's great. Fantastic. That's 3 for me.
Well, that was...
Oh, your rating was in there.
That was your rating,
yes,
right.
Sorry, yes,
Okay.
your rating was in there.
I actually fell asleep during that.
So did I during this movie.
Oh,
No, you didn't.
This movie is
No, you
really
didn't.
suspenseful. It actually does. It really does reel
You
you in.
know what you're talking about it being a dad film. I just realised, I was thinking about it then. I did get to the end of this and go, I'm going to tell Dad to watch this.
I was going to, hey, Pa, can we? Yeah.
I was like, you know what? This is going to be a good recommendation to dads. You know?
It's funny you say that because I know that my dad has seen this and I know that he did like it.
Because then you get asked, okay, what did you think of Tenet? And you go, and you say, you should watch Greyhound.
Well, that's the thing. My recommendation would be for Tenet. Tenet's great, but make sure you watch it with subtitles. This would be, just go watch it. It's great.
Yeah, you don't even need subtitles.
You don't even need subtitles because...
There's barely any dialogue.
Well, actually, it's pretty light on dialogue. Is
it? I feel like there's a lot of tight dialogue in there. During those action scenes when he's giving his...
I suppose the orders are, but that's more peripheral. That's more you're watching what's happening, going, okay, so they're over there, and he's over there, and they got to fire there quickly. That kind of thing.
All right, that's fine. Whatever.
It's all plot-driven dialogue. It's not.
It is. Yeah. This film for me was telling stories with pictures. Again, like we were saying, Tenet struggled with that. this one excelled with it.
It doesn't waste dialogue.
No.
Yeah, I think that's a very
It's
fair.
definitely just simple, non-offensive, and yeah.
Well, it might be offensive to Germans.
It's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. I want to stress that.
And offensive
That's
to-
why I
to-
got 3 instead of 1.
Well, that's good.
Stereotype.
Also
Yeah.
offensive to English stereotypes. But any 1940s English stereotypes. But anyway.
Did you want to finish off with any of your English stereotypes?
Hey, well, it's lovely to have you all here. It's splendid fun. You can find us all on all the social media things. I don't really know how computers work, but you can find us on there under Trailer Island, except for Twitter, which I believe is... Where's that, Steve? Jolly old chap.
Oh, well, this is Twitter is on Twitter, you fool.
Yeah, but what are we called on there?
Oh, at Island Trailer.
That's the one. Splendid. And Alex, what are your 2 cents on tonight's wonderful celebration of the film Greyhound?
Am I asking the Germans this one?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Well, of course, it was wonderful. You know, you can find us on all the things, but Matthew, you've said them all, so you've filled me with the joy of 1,000 torpedoes.
I feel like we're really on the edge of something here, aren't we?
Trailer Island Man.
Oh.
No?
Oh.
No?
Oh.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I apologise for my colleague, everyone.
Don't apologise for me. I'm sorry enough.
That is very true. So, yes, you can find us on trailerisland.com.au. Send us a recommendation. We'd love to
Yeah,
hear
absolutely.
what films are you seeing, because you are our audience. We rely on you for so many things because we really appreciate that you listen to us on a regular basis. So please send us recommendations. Hit us up on Facebook. Send us an email, whatever you want. Leave us a review as well. If you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can find us. We would really appreciate that. I've been Alex.
And I've been Matthew. Oh, lovely.
I've been Stephen.
Thanks. We've been the Trailer Island Podcast, and we'll catch you next week.
Good night.
Good night. Mhm. Delicious.
This is a Narrative Network podcast.